Hello friends, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink with a couple more Christmas cards. This time some flat shakers with glittery, shimmery goodness. So I'm using the new reverse all snowflakes background stamp that Simon just released in their December release. And the fun thing about this one is all of the snowflake images in this background stamp are actual like wafer dies, like snowflake wafer dies that Simon's released over the years. So they all kind of mix and match and all that fun stuff. So I've got the background stamp. I have it face up on my work surface, and I have some smooth white cardstock panels that I used my anti-static powder tool on. I inked up the stamp with clear embossing ink, and then I'm just pressing the cardstock into the stamp. Really quick and easy. Once it's pressed in, I'm going to use Hero Art's White Satin Pearl embossing powder. You could totally do clear powder with this. Silver would look really nice. I'm just thinking about that now. It's like, ooh, silver would be really pretty with this color combo I'm going to do. It'd be a slightly different look, but any really like just embossing powder, because we're going to do emboss resist. So I went with the White Satin Pearl because you can see it in real life, like that little bit of that shine it has. It's really pretty. So I did a second panel because why not when I've got all my supplies out. So exact same process. Anti-static powder tool, inked up the stamp with Simon's clear embossing ink, pressed the cardstock into it, and then coated with the embossing powder. And as always with my individual containers of embossing powder, I just work over a coffee filter. It's quick and easy. I can funnel it back into the container. I've done this for years and years and years with my other like main powders. You guys see me using the big Systema containers that have like 5 containers of embossing powder in them. No one needs that many. I've just amassed quite a bit over the years, and I do this as a job, so I do go through a fair bit more, but one embossing powder container per type is more than enough. And then yeah, coffee filters or even just like a piece of copy paper to catch the excess and funnel it back in the container does the job. So after I had both these backgrounds covered, I'm going to melt them with my heat tool, making sure to tilt it back and forth to make sure there's no dull like grainy areas, make sure everything is smooth and melted. And again, this embossing powder is really pretty. Yeah, really like it. Clear would look nice too though. I was tempted to do a glitter embossing powder, but I was a little concerned that when I do the ink blending with my brushes, sometimes the blending brushes will somewhat remove the glitter, which isn't a big deal, but it just gets annoying if they get into my brushes. You know what I mean? So it is an option though, because it will resist the ink as well. But a smooth embossing powder does kind of work best for this. So got my backgrounds. I'm just working on my grid paper here, and I have some different colors of Simon's Positively Saturated inks. So I started with Marine, which is just a really nice light blue, and blending it on with my blending brushes and just going in randomly. Like for me especially, I normally will do like a gradient starting, from the top to the bottom, or, from one corner to the other. But it's fun, mix it up. So Marine for my first color. Surf for this aqua color, and then I went in with Amethyst, which is like a nice deep purple, and then I'm going to come in with a bit of Royal, which is a very, very deep blue. I was really inspired by the sequin mix that Simon just released as well, the Winter Glitter Sequin Mix. I was like, these are really pretty, like aquas and purples and shimmery bits, and I was like, yes. I'm like, that's the perfect color combo for a card, especially with snowflakes. So I added in that royal blue, not a lot of it because it is a very intense color, but I just pulled in a bit of it here and there. And then because this is emboss resist, so all of the embossed areas, the ink is sitting on top of them. So I just take my cloth and wipe over this. So this is just my microfiber cloth. Wipe over the entire background, and that removes all that ink sitting there and just reveals the pretty snowflakes. I love this background. I might most likely have to do more videos using it because I really like it. So after I had done that, I decided to add some water droplets to get that going, you know, a little bit of reaction. It adds a little bit of texture, and I really like how Simon's inks, the positively saturated inks, how they react to water. It's just slightly different than some of the other water reactive inks, and I really like it. It just creates a really neat texture, splatter effect, all that stuff. So I used my Distress sprayer, held it quite high up above these, only pressed it halfway down, so I got the, you know, bigger splatters and some smaller ones and all of that. Picked that up with a little piece of paper towel, let it dry, and then I trimmed these backgrounds down to smaller than my A2 card fronts. These ended up being like 3 3/4 by 5 inches, kind of my go-to panel size for the last however long. So trim those down, and then to make these flat shakers, I like to use just recycled packaging. I keep all of it. I have like a basket of it at this point. This is just packaging that Cardstock came in. So things like that works perfectly. And I just trimmed a piece down that was just slightly bigger than these panels. And then I flipped them over onto the packaging. And on the back, I'm just using Simon's Terrific tape, applying a line of tape around the outer edge, folding over the packaging. And I do that to 3 sides. The 4th side I leave clear, like I don't adhere it yet, because you need an opening to put all your shaky bits in. And also I will link at the end of this video, I've done an entire playlist with a bunch of flat shaker videos, because they're, once you make one, they're easy and they're addictive. So I'll link to that playlist at the end as well. So I did the same thing with the second panel, sealed up 3 sides, left the 4th open, and then I added the winter glitter sequins, and then I also pulled out from my stash, I have these winter flurries from Simon, and these ones are little snowflake shaped ones. So I added a few of those to the mix because, of course, it was all just meant to be. So added those once I was happy with what I had in there. And again, I had to hold myself back, so I was like thinking about like all the different kinds of glitter and, you know, 5 million additions. And you guys have seen it in my videos, I am really bad for adding like everything to the shakers. It gets ridiculous. So I held myself back, and then I sealed up the final sides. These are all sealed in, and then I just take my scissors and I trim off the bits on the corners that are like overlapping. So I've got my shakers, and then I pulled out this is the winter glitter 6x6 paper pack that Simon also just released. And yeah, I have all their glitter papers, you know, but when they do these little collections, I was just like, oh, yay, more glitter paper. But then when I opened it and just all these colors together, I was like, oh, these are beautiful. I was like, they're just so pretty. I love it. And of course, again, they go with the sequins, they go with the colors. Everything is great. So for the die cutting, I pulled out a couple oldie but goodies. I used the ELIZA Snowflake wafer die, which is, you can see that image in the background stamp. So I die cut that from the white glitter paper in the pack. And then I pulled out the CZ Design Mary Word wafer die, and I die cut that from the blue, oh, the blue is gorgeous, glitter paper in that pack. And I also die cut a couple more layers from Simon's Island Blue cardstock, just to stack it up, give it that dimension that I love. So I stacked up the layers with Craft Tacky Glue, topped them with the glitter layer, and then the outline layer I die cut from Simon's Vellum. So I've got the word and the outline. And then to adhere the snowflake to the packaging, I'm using glossy accents. I purposely choose glossy accents when I'm adhering directly to the packaging like this, only because if it does ooze out a little bit, which it can do more often because you're adhering to plastic, you're not going to see it because it's got that glossy finish. So it's not really going to show up, whereas like Craft Tacky Glue and a lot of other glues will dry with that little bit of a matte finish. It's a subtle thing. You can probably just use whatever glue works for you, but I don't mind using the glossy accents for this. And glossy accents is also super, super strong. So it has that added little benefit. So I adhered the snowflakes directly to the packaging with the glossy accents. And then the Mary Word dies, I just use my Craft Tacky Glue because this mostly is going to adhere to the snowflake itself. A little bit will stick to the packaging as well. And since the vellum is there, I'm not as worried about needing to use like glossy accents to adhere it really well. Like the vellum is going to hide the adhesive. So if anything does ooze out, it's good to go. So I adhered those. And then for the inside of my card, I masked off at the score line. These are top folding A2 white note cards. Masked off the inside of the score line, and then I used that reverse all snowflakes background again, and I just inked it up with that lightest blue ink, that marine ink. And I decided not to add any other sentiments. I love this background stamp. But again, it's snowflakes. You guys know, I've said it, you can never have too many snowflake stamps or wafer dies or embellishments. As soon as I pulled this out of the package, I was like, yay, yes, snowflakes. Perfect. So stamp the insides of the card with that. The shaker panels, I just adhered to the card bases with that same terrific tape. And then I paired these cards with some of Simon's metallic lavender envelopes. So I've just got this like aqua, blue, purple, shimmery, glittery goodness going on. These were fun. And yes, they shake. There's something about that shaky noise and the fact that these are like, yeah, flat shakers. So really easy to mail. Love it. So as always, I will have a link below the video to my blog post. In my blog post, I will have the supplies. I will also have a special coupon code because today's video is part of a blog hop for this release. All that info will be in the blog post directly below the video, so you can check that out if you're interested. Thank you all so much for watching, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Bye!